in this case, campaign contributions from unions. Will your support from these unions prevent you from working in the best interest of the city to address the pension crisis? And how should the city resolve the pension crisis? We start with John Marino.
Well, as far as my donations, a great majority of my donations have come from people like you, from just regular citizens, friends, family. That's where the majority of them came from. My largest contribution was from the Fraternal Order of Police, $20,000. That's the largest one. How is that going to impact my decision on pensions? I believe, and I've already stated, that there are ways that we can get these at least on the right track and get the city to negotiate in good faith with these unions. And the way that we need to, I like Brendan Riley's idea. He said, there's $1.7 billion sitting in TIF funds right now. He suggested take half of that money and we can make the balloon payment that's coming up down the road here, put half of that into the pension funds, and then half of the pension money that pours into these funds, which is almost $500 billion a year, can go toward COAST to get it paid down. I suggested that we have a casino, and the casino money, 100% of that can go towards these pensions. Once you do that, and now you're negotiating in good faith, then you can bring these unions to the table and see what we can work out. You need to have an actuarial analysis just to say, well, we have to change the retirement age, we have to increase the amount of money that they put in. That, nobody's shown that that's actually going to have any impact. Actually, it'll have a minuscule impact. It won't fix it. They need these cash infusions. Some of these unions, or these pensions are as low as 27% funded. They're supposed to be up over 90%. So we need to get ourselves back on track. We have to make that cash infusion. And actually in 2011, that's when the statute was passed to start making changes, and it made this balloon payment that was going to be coming. He's been alderman that entire time, not one peep out of him, nothing saying, you know what, we better start putting money aside, we better start getting ready, maybe we need to do something. Nothing. Him or the city council or the mayor, nothing, except now it's kick the can down the road.
Well, that's not true, John. So for 4 years, I voted against 3 budgets. And in my newsletter, if you can sign up for it, John, on my website, if you want to find out what we've been doing. Every time I've made a vote like that, I have explained why. And in every single case, it's been abdication of the responsibility to the pensions. It's also been that we have not addressed the deficiency in our police force. So these are the kind of things that he can stand here and say that and tell you at the door that we've done nothing. But he needs to do his homework. And we've done our homework. As a caucus, on the Progressive Reform Caucus, we have presented 8 different revenue streams to the administration, every single budget cycle. That is when this conversation happens. So we've put those ideas out there, whether it's TIF reform, whether it's LaSalle Street taxes, things that we can do that we needed to do 4 years ago, and this administration, which is the one that holds the reins on these things, has done nothing. So consider that when you decide when you're voting for mayor. But my point is, we need to honor these obligations. We have pensioners that cannot afford a reduction in benefits and an increase in property taxes. They will be forced out of their homes, out of the city, the places where they grew up. We need to honor that, but we need to look to folks to pay their fair share, to get corporations to participate in this, to come up with revenue streams that are not hitting property taxes as the first way of getting it done. So I'll continue to bring those ideas to the table, as I've done for the last 4 years. And they're there. This is a solvable problem, but we have to work together to come to it.
Property taxes is on the table. That is definitely a problem as far as I'm concerned, and he's all for every other new tax that he can come up with. Taxes, taxes, taxes. That's not what we need to do. We have to manage the resources that we have, manage the money that we have. Like I said, there's $1.7 billion sitting in these TIF funds, and I'll tell you what, they'll tell you, oh, that money's already spoken for, that's already dedicated to certain projects. Well, sometimes you can't buy the shiny new car until you pay your bills. That's what we need to do. But what you really need to think about when you go to the polls is almost $750,000 to get this man elected and to keep him in office by one union. Almost $750,000 from the first election and this election so far. And you know what? He might become the $1 million man because we still have 3 weeks to go. That's a lot of money whose interests is he protecting?
Oh, please.
The unions that support me are service professionals. Folks that are cleaning bathrooms at O'Hare Airport and trimming your trees and paving your streets. These are your neighbors. These are not high-priced corporations. And they're not the police union either, which, as we know, is $600 million balloon payments here. I'm sure they want a police officer representing their interests, his interests, because this is his pension that we're talking about. So we've got to look at whose interest is he protecting. And if you look at independence, I have been the most independent alderman on the city council. I have spoken up for TIF reform. I have spoken against bad deals, whether it's the parking meter deal or the billboards, over and over again. So my record's clear on where I'll be. And I'll tell you a little story. When I was up for a union endorsement in the first race, I was told, well, you know, if you don't go along with our plan here, 30% of your award
Thank
is
you.
union members.
Okay.
I told them
All right.
70% are not. And so we need to represent.
Thank you, Alderman. All right.